Walter Ho.
Thank you.
I take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Walter. Dr. Walter King Yan Ho obtained his Master's of PhD in Sydney University with physical education as major study. His expertise focuses on sports sociology, comparative education, curriculum development, pedagogical study, health works and students. Before his work in universities of Macau, he had 10 years work as a physical education teacher in primary and secondary schools and about 8 years of working experience in Sport Development Board and Curriculum Development Institute, respectively in Hong Kong, SAR from 1995 to 2002. While working in these two institutes, he helped to manage the projects such as Go Sports Program, Fitness Award Scheme for school children, curriculum development for Wushu, and the curriculum reform works of learning to learn physical education in Hong Kong. So he joined the University of Macau in 2003 and served as Assistant Professor, Faculty of Education. During his work in the university, he was appointed as Program Coordinator in the Primary Education, headed the development of new bachelor's program for primary education 2005. He was also the founder of the Master Program in Physical Education and Sports Studies in the Faculty of Education same year. So worked as Secretary of the 16th Biennial Conference of the International Society for Comparative Physical Education and Sport in 2008 and 7th National University Sport Climbing Championship in 2009 in the University of Macau. Walter was elected as the President of the International Society for Comparative Physical Education and Sport from 2008 to 16, Vice President of the Education of the International Council of Sports Science and Physical Education (XP) from 2009 to 2016. He also was appointed as the Associate Interim College Master of the Choi Kai Yo College from September 2016 to January 2019 in the University of Macau. Walter is currently working as Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Education. His major teaching areas include teaching of physical education, games learning, sport education, exercise psychology, leisure studies, actively involved in various development projects in areas of pedagogical studies in physical education, development of quality program in physical education, fitness and health development of students, academic programs in the university sports education. His publication of the book Social Perspectives in Physical Education, Foundation and Experience in Chinese Soil in 2009, translated work of the books of research methodology for sport and exercise science into Chinese, and edited works of current issues in contemporary comparative physical education sport in 2013. In this few years of publication, most of his work focused on publication, the study of quality physical education, health development in students, and issues in exercise psychology. He also serves as a principal investigator the research project on quality physical education, active kid movement, intervention physical activities, and students' life development in residential college. He also keeps in charge of the health and fitness development project for Macau primary school students with the project named Living in Motion 1 to 3 and the training program for school leisure activity specialists in Macau SAR. So indeed, with such a detailed, vast portfolio, I actually said we are blessed. On behalf of the Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of Khelo India, I welcome our most dignified speaker, a warm welcome to our most dignified speaker, Dr. Walter Ho, to this session, please.
All right, thank you.
I would also like to welcome Dr. Claudia, Dr. Beatrice, Dr. Rosa Lopez, Dr. Kishore Sir, Dr. Sanjeev Patil, all my dear PE teachers and coaches to this session. It's going to be a wonderful session and it's going to be a real learning session because Sir is going to come out with what are the real practical issues and practicality, what are the myths and realities in our profession, that is physical education sport. Over to you, Professor Walter, for your session, please.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, okay. So this is actually the topic that I prepared for tonight concerning something on quality physical education development. I put myth and realities as something that we try to discuss tonight. And so I hope that my voice will be loud enough that everyone can hear. If there will be any things that you want me to voice up, then just let me know, then I'll be fine to do that. Hang on a sec. Okay. All right. So, okay. Before I start, I want to mention a little bit concerning about what we call the quality issues. Because if we do not have the proper understanding of this, then that will be very difficult for us to go forward and know about what we are going to discuss. So I just want to mention to everyone that quality education is a worldwide concern. It is not just happens in physical education. In fact, it's found in all learning areas. So here you can see the World Bank 2014, UNICEF, China, or even Hong Kong. All right, they also implement different policy in order to uphold or develop what we call the quality learning in the education. So, but I will not go to details of all these things. But anyway, you will understand that quality education is a worldwide concern, and the urge of quality development is found in all learning areas. So certainly, you will ask one thing: what about physical education? What are the essential components that constitute the development of quality physical education? This is the purpose that I hope that I can share tonight with you all concerning about something on quality physical education. So I choose myth and hope because I think if we have myth, then certainly we understand there is hope. When we talk about the reality, we understand how we are going to do it. So that would be the two themes that I want to share with you tonight concerning about the quality development of physical education.
Could I just share, please? Could I just translate, Dr. Walter?
Yes.
आज सर इसकी बात कर रहे हैं कि सर का जो बता रहे हैं, जो हम शिक्षा बोलते हैं उसमें गुणवत्ता कितनी है। ये जो हम लोग शिक्षा हम बोलते हैं, शिक्षा जो शिक्षा का विभाग है वो कितनी अच्छी शिक्षा दे रही है, क्या वो गुणवत्ता है क्या, इसके बारे में सर ज्यादा बोल रहे हैं। इसके बारे में काफी चर्चा हो रही है, लेकिन इसकी अपेक्षा शारीरिक शिक्षा की गुणवत्ता क्या है उस पे सर काफी अनुसंधान कर चुके हैं, और उसमें ये भी बता रहे हैं कि इसकी जो कल्पित कथा क्या है, मिथ क्या है, और इसमें हम क्या आशा रख सकते हैं, और इसकी यथार्थ बात क्या है, जो यथार्थ चल रही है, जो हम शारीरिक शिक्षा की बात कर रही है उसकी यथार्थ क्या है और इसकी कल्पित कथा क्या है, इसकी उम्मीद क्या है, इसके बारे में सर अभी हमको जानकारी देंगे। तो हम ये देख रहे हैं गुणवत्ता, जो शारीरिक शिक्षा की गुणवत्ता है उस पर हमें ज्यादा जोर देना चाहिए। यस सर, प्लीज।
Okay, so these are the content or the topics that I expect to share with everybody. There'll be 6 parts that I'm going to do. Of course, some of the parts will be a little bit long, some of the parts will be just very short. But anyway, I try to put it in this way so that you will have a proper understanding of quality physical education. Do you want to do the translation first?
Yeah, अभी सर बताते कि इसमें अभी सर बताएंगे गुणवत्ता, शारीरिक शिक्षा की गुणवत्ता के बारे में चर्चा करेंगे। फिर ये बता देंगे जो भी हमारी जो पाठ्यक्रम हो रही है उसमें किस तरह से शारीरिक शिक्षा में बदलाव आनी चाहिए जिससे कि गुणवत्ता हो, और इसके अलावा कि हमारी जो अप्रोच है, जो जिस तरह से अभी चल रहा है हमारी शारीरिक, उसमें से क्या बदलाव लानी चाहिए और यथार्थ क्या है गुणवत्ता लाने के लिए, और क्या क्या बाधाएं हैं, क्या समस्या है गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा लाने में। ये लोगों की जो आवाज है, जो शारीरिक शिक्षा के लोग हैं, शारीरिक शिक्षा दुनिया भर जो चल रही है सबने अपनी आवाज उठाया, उसमें क्या उनकी आवाज वो समस्या के तौर पे आई है, और इसका जो पूरी टिप्पणी जो है सर लास्ट में देंगे। ये इस भाग में सर चर्चा करेंगे। यस सर।
The first topic that I would like to share with you is something concerning about the call for quality physical education. To start with the call, I think we better start from the UNESCO works. UNESCO in 1978 started the International Charter of Physical Education and Sport. And then in the charter, I highlighted already that there will be a very important message that UNESCO want to send to every nation, because the charter said every person is entitled to participate in sport, including specifically women, young people, the elderly, and those with a disability. This charter was later revised in 2015 to make it more fully. So if you take a look at the 2015 revised versions, you will find 12 articles. But if you take a look at a few of the articles, then you will see the heart of concerns concerning about the quality physical education.
Can it only the 12 article which you mentioned about? Sir, ये बता रहे थे कि जो इंटरनल चार्टर है, जो sir, can you just show me the previous slide, please, sir?
Yes.
अभी बता रहे कि जो हम लोग बोलते हैं कल्पित कथा है, और जो उम्मीद है यूनेस्को की जो चार्टर ऑफ फिजिकल एजुकेशन जो कि 1987 में था, उसमें एक बताया कि हर व्यक्ति को खेल में भाग लेने के लिए अवसर मिलना चाहिए, वो महिला हो, विकलांग हो, बच्चे हो, युवा हो, सबको देना चाहिए। वो इस तरह से, वो तो 1978 था, ये तो एक मिथ करके आया, लेकिन ये सही तरह से जब लागू हुआ वो हुआ था 2015 में, जब सही तरह से लोगों ने इसके बारे में काफी आवाज उठाए। सर प्लीज नेक्स्ट प्लीज सर। अभी आप देखेंगे इसमें आर्टिकल में होके आया है, अभी 2015 में जो रिवाइज है इसमें दिया है कि मानव अधिकार है, जो मानव अधिकार के तौर पे शारीरिक शिक्षा और जो शारीरिक गतिविधि और इसके जो नियम है ये सब सही तरह से लागू होने चाहिए। ये उनको ये मानव अधिकार है जहां पर ये कर सकते हैं। और दूसरी बात ये कि जो आर्टिकल 4 से 5 दिया है कि हमें प्रोत्साहित करना चाहिए लोगों को कंटिन्यूअसली लगातार खेल में ले, और जिससे कि उनका जो भावी है जो आगे जाके वो सुरक्षित रहे। और आर्टिकल 6 से 7 दिया है कि काफी अनुसंधान बहुत चाहिए, और आर्टिकल 8 से 9 बोला सुरक्षा होनी चाहिए जगह के तौर पे जहां पर हम खेल कराते हैं या जो सुविधा देते हैं इक्विपमेंट के तौर पे या फैसिलिटी के तौर पे, ये सब में सुरक्षा एक बहुत बड़ा एक फैक्टर है जिसके बारे में हमें काफी हमको उसका ध्यान रखना चाहिए। आर्टिकल 10 में ये भी बोला है कि एथिकल कंसर्न्स माने जो भी इश्यूज आती है जो अब जैसे हम बच्चों से करते हैं उनसे व्यवहार करना, अगर वो गलत तरीके से, वो एथिकल इश्यू हो जाती है। लेकिन समाज में कई चीजें होती है जो हमें नहीं करना चाहिए, उसको वो आर्टिकल 10 में दिया है। और आर्टिकल 11 में दिया कि शारीरिक शिक्षा का जो शांति स्थापन में क्या जगह है, और 12 में दिया है कि हम अंतरराष्ट्रीय लेवल पे हम कैसे जुड़े रह सकते हैं। यस सर।
I just want to highlight a few articles to you. So these already in red. They'll be very easy to understand because not all the article concerning about the education, and because some of them are concerning about, for example, like policy or all these things. But there'll be a few points like Article 1.7, and you will see that there'll be something linked to the works on physical education. For example, like it's talking about a balanced strengthening between physical activities and other components of education. And it means that there'll be needed to have a integrated curriculum or something like that in order for physical education to happen. This is actually something that we missed when we are going to see all these things. But I will not go for long. I just want to highlight a few to you. 1.7 has this kind of element. 4.2 also has this kind of element concerned called lifelong participation. 4.3 would be something concerned about the school curricula. So these are some of the examples that I catch up for you from the charter, so that you will understand there is an intentions of the UNESCO people who want to address on the quality issues in another sense, not just solely on the teaching of physical education in class. In fact, it talks more. It talks more on, for example, like inclusions. It talks more on quality of learning, quality of teachings, how you're going to do the curricula, and all sorts of these things.
Could you say the previous one, please? I'll make it brief. I think I should go very brief. अभी सर बता रही थी जो आर्टिकल इसमें बहुत क्लियरली दे रखा है 1 और 1.7 के बीच में, कि इसमें दे रखा है कि एक जो संबंध होनी चाहिए, जो शिक्षा का जो कंपोनेंट है, शिक्षा शारीरिक गतिविधि भी उसमें शामिल होनी चाहिए। तो इसलिए हमें कभी शिक्षा अधूरा रहता है शारीरिक गतिविधि के अलावा। और इसके अलावा हम इंक्लूसिव माने सबको उसमें शामिल करके हर रोज इसका अगर हम लागू करेंगे, वो भी प्राइमरी जो हम बोलते हैं जो छोटी है और ऊपर से जो हायर क्लास में आते हैं उसके लिए। यस नेक्स्ट। और दूसरा बताया कि सकारात्मक अनुभव बच्चों को खेल और शारीरिक क्रिया के द्वारा अगर मिल जाए, वो बहुत जरूरी है। उनकी जो बुनियाद है जो शुरू में हम लोग उसको बना सकते हैं, क्योंकि बच्चों के अगर सही तरह से वो अनुभव हुआ, वो देखेंगे वो सही तरह का स्किल और सीख पाएंगे, जिससे वो जिंदगी भर खेल में भाग ले, उसमें उनको अच्छा लगेगा। और दूसरी बात ये बताई कि स्कूल के जो करिकुलम है, हमें बच्चों को जब वो सिर्फ खेल के लिए नहीं सीमित होता, क्योंकि खेल से और भी बहुत सारी कुछ सीख पाते हैं, वो सिर्फ हमें कक्षा तक सीमित नहीं रखनी चाहिए। हम देखते हैं कि बच्चों को उस अनुभव की तरह उनकी कॉन्फिडेंस, उनकी जो सेल्फ एस्टीम ये कई क्वालिटी सिर्फ एक खेल के द्वारा बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसे मिल जाती है जो कि उनको उसके साथ मिलती है, जो आगे जाके उनको अपने जिंदगी में बहुत ज्यादा प्रयोग मिलता है. यस सर.
Okay, so the immediate question is, can we achieve these qualities? What are the response from the international community? This is actually a very important message that we need to ask, and also need to find out how much that we can achieve. If that is not possible to achieve these things, these are just empty talk only. So
अभी जैसे अभी सर बता रहे थे क्या हम वो हम ये गुण कैसे हम कैसे ले पाएंगे, हमें लगता है कि ये सिर्फ हम बातें कर रहे हैं, क्या हम इसको कभी हो सकता है कि हम अपने में लागू कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इसमें जो अंतरराष्ट्रीय जो समुदाय है वो क्या बोलते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोग जो कागज में लिखते हैं सब बहुत अच्छा, अभी भी हम देख रहे हैं शारीरिक शिक्षा में सब बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन इसको लागू करने में, उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने में, एक्शन करने में हमें लगता है कि वो क्या हो सकता है, क्या ये संभव है, यही पूछा गया है. यस सर.
you can see this is actually the exact meanings, or try to what the UNESCO want to carry on, the kind of message for quality educations, because the International Charter taught a lot of things, but how are you going to summarize all these things? And then you can find very important statements in the 2015 policy guidelines for policymakers. The guideline for policymakers in quality education had this work. Quality physical education, QPE, refers to the actions of careful decisions in making use of every possible ways to develop a well-planned, progressive, inclusive, and supportive learning experiences that forms part of the curriculum in early years, primary and secondary education, and in this respect. So I think these statements help us to capture most of the important things, and then actually trying to convey in the International Charter.
अभी इंटरनेशनल चार्टर में ये बोला है कि इन्होंने किसके लिए आवाज उठाई है कि गुणवत्ता, शारीरिक शिक्षा में गुणवत्ता. ये गुणवत्ता क्या है? गुणवत्ता वो ऐसा है कि जिससे कि जो हम बच्चों में बोल रहे हैं, जब हम खेल के द्वारा उनकी जो है जीवन में उत्कृष्टता पाए, सामाजिक, शारीरिक, और हम बोलते हैं कि जो शिक्षा के तौर पे, ये सब में एक बहुत अच्छा सा एक प्रोग्राम है. अगर सब शामिल हो तभी हम गुणवत्ता कह सकते हैं, लेकिन ये हमको बहुत सोच समझ के करना चाहिए, क्योंकि इसमें हमें हर तरह से ऐसा देखना चाहिए, सही तरह से उसको प्लान करना चाहिए, जिससे कि हम प्रोग्रेसिव माने वो हम स्टेप बाय स्टेप चले, सबको मिला के चलाएं और हर चीज जोड़े, सब अनुभव जोड़े, जिससे कि बच्चे जब सीखते हैं शुरू में, जो शुरुआत के इयर्स में सीखते हैं, वो सही तरह से उनका एक मजबूत बुनियाद बन जाती है, जो कि हमें प्राइमरी एजुकेशन मिलती है. और इसके द्वारा ये बच्चे को अगर मनोरंजन इनको अच्छा लगा, ये सारी जो शारीरिक शिक्षा और खेल है, वो जरूर इसी पे जुड़े रहेंगे, खेल को छोड़ेंगे नहीं. तो इस तरह से हमें एक ऐसा अनुभव देने वाला एक गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा का पाठ्यक्रम बनाएंगे, उसी को हम बोल सकते हैं गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा.
So I tell what UNESCO is not standing silently. If you take a look of their effort, then you will know. In 1970, that is the International Charter, and then in 2005, you have the report on quality physical education, and in 2013, you have the International Conference of Minister and Senior Officer responsible for physical education. We call Minutes 5. For talking about quality physical education. And then on the same year, you had the declarations of Berlin concerning about quality physical education. So UNESCO is not standing silently behind. And then UNESCO is actually working in a very proactive way in order to develop quality physical education.
अभी ये बताते कि जो हम आपको पता है यूनेस्को, जो यूनाइटेड नेशंस, हम जब बोलते हैं कि ये बहुत बड़ी एक बॉडी है जो कि देखती है, वो सिर्फ शिक्षा पे नहीं है, शिक्षा के अलावा शारीरिक शिक्षा भी उसका एक भाग है, तो वो चुप नहीं बैठी है. आप देखेंगे 1978 में उन्होंने शुरू किया ये इंटरनेशनल चार्टर, उसके बाद में थोड़ा वक्त तो लगा, 2005 में इन्होंने रिपोर्ट बनाई गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा की, और 2013 में इनका जो कॉन्फ्रेंस चलता है उसमें आप सबको जानकारी होनी चाहिए कि हर राज्य से जो स्पोर्ट्स और फिजिकल एजुकेशन जो चलाते हैं वहाँ के मंत्री या वहाँ के सीनियर ऑफिशियल्स आके भाग लेते हैं। तो हम चाह रहे कि अगले साल हमारा भी भारत में से भी या इस साल भारत के भी मंत्री उसमें मिनिस्ट्री से लोग जाके भाग ले और चर्चा करें शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में। और 2013 में ही था डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ बर्लिन, जो आपने देखा ये सारा हमारा रोजा मैडम ने भी इसके बारे में हमें दिया था। तो ये आप देखेंगे कि कोई बैठा नहीं है, हम देख रहे हैं कि वो सामने नहीं आ रहे, लेकिन सब अपना संघर्ष लगा रहे हैं कि किस तरह से गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा हो। Yes, sir.
The following slide will be a little bit fast because I want to run it fast. Because I want to stress out to you, everyone, that there will be a number of international works behind in order to promote the quality development of physical education. So one of that would be the LASPA and the CDC effort in USA. All right, in 2004, the LASPA developed the National Center for Physical Education. This is that one. And then in 2006, there is another paper concerning about to giving 10 top reasons to support the development of QPE, quality physical education. This is the paper. And then in 2006, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in USA, developed the Physical Education Curriculum Analysis Tool. That is what we call the PCAT in 2006, concerning about the development of quality physical education. In 2010, there is the CDC strategy to improve quality physical education. Now, this is the part of NASPA and CDC. UN and ICSSP also stand on the side in order to do it. Like 2003, you see the UN Mechanism Declarations and Recommendations. This is the one. 2010, you see the ICSSP position statement on physical education. You see the same year, the ICSSP had the international benchmark for physical education systems. So this is the one. So these are some of the response that you can see. There'll be so many organizations working behind in order to support the development of quality physical education.
अभी सर बता रहे कि मैं सिर्फ ब्रीफ में बताना चाहती हूँ। NASPE बोलते हैं नेशनल एसोसिएशन ऑफ फिजिकल एजुकेशन स्पोर्ट, जो कि यूएस में था। उन्होंने फिजिकल एजुकेशन के लिए स्टैंडर्ड्स बनाई थी। और उसके अलावा सीडीसी भी है, जो कि दोबारा यूएस का ही है। इन्होंने सीडीसी माने सेंटर ऑफ डिजीज कंट्रोल एंड प्रिवेंशन, क्योंकि ये भी बहुत ज्यादा दूसरी बात है कि इन्होंने फिजिकल एजुकेशन करिकुलम एनालिसिस पीकेट, आप जरूर पीकेट का देखिए, NASPE का पढ़ना, पीकेट के बारे में पढ़ना, सीडीसी के बारे में जरूर जानकारी देना, क्योंकि सीडीसी क्वालिटी जो गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में काफी बहुत सारा काम कर चुकी है। तो ये सिर्फ शिक्षा का नहीं है, शिक्षा से भी बाहर चला गया। इसके अलावा आप देखेंगे और सारी कई संस्थानें जैसे यूनाइटेड नेशंस और ICSP, जो अभी हम देख रहे हैं ICSP के प्रेसिडेंट वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हमारे साथ हैं, ये लोग सब लगातार देख रहे हैं किस तरह से गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा हो। इसके अलावा काफी डिक्लेरेशंस में इन्होंने शारीरिक शिक्षा के लिए कई पेपर्स निकाले, जो पोजीशन स्टेटमेंट है, इन्होंने बेंचमार्क्स भी बनाया। तो बहुत मेहनत किया है, बहुत संघर्ष किया है बहुत सारे संस्थान ने, और इनकी सिर्फ एक उद्देश्य था, किस तरह से गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा हो। यस सर।
So these are the words from the international organization. But what about the world response to the development of quality physical education? So you can see there are so many things that happen. For example, like you will find, for example, like the place that I worked before in Hong Kong, in Hong Kong, they have the curriculum change. And then in USA, all right, the Mexican State Board of Education implement the policy on quality physical education. And then in Canada, they have another approach in order to combine the physical education with health together to form the new curriculum called the health and physical educations. So you can see there are different new concepts developed. These are innovative instructions, for example, like teaching game for understanding, all right? And then you have the extensions of learning opportunities. For example, like the Ministry of Education in Singapore are actually doing these things very well, concerning about what we call the CCA, co-curricular activities. And then beside these extensions, you have the health promotion works. And then we understand we need to extend student opportunity in sport and physical activities in order to give them the chance of health and fitness developments. Then what can we going to do? This is the project in Austria. This is the project in Singapore. This is the project in Brazil called the Agita, and this is the project in Macau.
ये सर बता रहे थे कि दुनिया में अब ये देखेंगे, ये इन्होंने देखा अभी शारीरिक शिक्षा की गुणवत्ता के लिए काफी कुछ काफी लोग सामने अपने अपनी सोच समझ उन्होंने सामने रखी, लेकिन इसमें दुनिया के कई जो शारीरिक शिक्षा के लोग थे उनका किस तरह का प्रतिक्रिया हुआ, इन्होंने ये लोग क्या बदलाव लेके आए। आप देखेंगे जैसे HKSR में उन्होंने देखा इन्होंने अपनी करिकुलम बदल दी, US में इन्होंने देखा कि उन्होंने गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा शुरू की, लेकिन कनाडा में इन्होंने क्या किया, शारीरिक शिक्षा के साथ स्वास्थ्य भी जोड़ दिया। तो आप देखेंगे सिंगापुर, ब्राजील, अलग अलग राज्यों में इन लोगों ने ये जो शुरुआत हुई उसके वजह से काफी बदलाव लेके आए। वो देखे कि आज की उनकी जरूरत क्या है, जरूरत के मुताबिक इन्होंने, जैसे आप देखेंगे गेम सेंस आपका ऑलरेडी हमारा एक सेशन हो चुका है, तो काफी नई नई चीजें, नई सोच, वो बदलाव के द्वारा आया। ये सब आया क्योंकि शारीरिक शिक्षा के काफी लोग ये बाहर ला पाए कि गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा क्या होनी चाहिए। हम पहले जैसे चल रहे वैसे चलने से नहीं चलेगा, उसमें क्या बदलाव लाना है। इसलिए हम देखते हैं काफी राज्य, बहुत सारे राज्य में शारीरिक शिक्षा में बहुत सुधार लाए, उसमें काफी नयापन लेके आए, और उसको सिर्फ हम बोलते हैं स्वास्थ्य के लिए फिर एक हेल्थ प्रमोशन जो करके आए हैं। क्योंकि आप देखेंगे हमारा अजिता मुंडा करके हमारा विक्टर सर ने सेशन ले लिया है, गेम सेंस के बारे में लिया, मकाओ के बारे में सर ने भी लिया, लिविंग प्रोजेक्ट। इसके द्वारा हम स्वस्थ और जो हम बोलते हैं क्षमता वाले बच्चे और युवा और सारे जो पूरी जन है, पूरा जो राज्य है, उसको कैसे कर सकते हैं। इस तरह से एक शुरुआत सारी हुई है, क्योंकि ये इसके पीछे बहुत सारी संस्थान और लोगों का जो मेहनत है, इसका फल है जो अभी दिख रहा है। यस सर।
So I want to give you a few examples of what we are now doing, and that is actually very interesting. If you take a look at these few examples, you will find that we are actually working in a very similar factions in order to promote the quality development of physical education. The first one that I want to talk to you would be something in USA, in United States. You can see here that they try to propose the curriculum time change of 150 minutes for the elementary schools, and then 225 minutes per week for the middle schools. And then within these developments, you can see a number of at least 6 different standards in the curriculum and trying to achieve.
इसे बताते कि शारीरिक शिक्षा जो US में है, इन्होंने कई फैक्टर्स उसके बारे में जब थोड़ा सा पढ़ा, उसके बारे में जब थोड़ा सा डिटेल में पढ़े, तो उसके देखे तो उसके जो 6 भाग है, उसमें देखते कि क्षमता होनी चाहिए मोटर स्किल्स में, इस पर उन बच्चों का असेस किया जाता है। वो लोग मूवमेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स बोलते हैं। फिर ये जो आप बोलते हैं उनकी जो शारीरिक क्षमता कितनी है, और उनके जो व्यवहार के तौर पे, और इनका जो खेल के द्वारा जो भी ज्ञान उनको मिला, ये सारी उसमें आ जाती है। लेकिन उन्होंने साथ में ये भी बोला है कि बच्चों को कम से कम 150 जो मिनट है वो हर हफ्ते छोटे बच्चों के लिए, और 225 मिनट मिडिल स्कूल और हाई स्कूल बच्चों को देनी चाहिए। तो आपने देखा यहाँ तो कितना समय देना है, उस पर इन लोगों ने नियम लागू किए, और साथ ही साथ उन्होंने 6 और भी लाए कि क्या क्या पॉइंट्स होने चाहिए जो इस फिजिकल एजुकेशन शारीरिक शिक्षा के द्वारा उनको मिलना चाहिए। Yes, sir.
So you can see the Australian and the education department also doing same things. You can see they are also focusing on the hours of work, like 80 hours per year of work in physical education. And then when they are going to do the curriculum change, they have 12 focus area. And these are the 12 focus areas that the government want to achieve in the primary and secondary education, in the high school educations.
सर ऑस्ट्रेलिया के करिकुलम के बारे में जब बता रहे हैं, शारीरिक शिक्षा के साथ स्वास्थ्य भी ले आए, लेकिन इन्होंने इनका है 2 ही स्ट्रैंड है, इसे बोलते हैं व्यक्तिगत तौर पे, सामाजिक तौर पे और कम्युनिटी तौर पे जो है स्वस्थ, और साथ में जो हम बोलते हैं हम बोलते हैं कि मूवमेंट एंड शारीरिक जो गतिविधि है वो है दूसरा। लेकिन इसमें कि ये दोनों एक साथ चलनी चाहिए, जिससे कि हम लोग शारीरिक गतिविधि के द्वारा हम व्यक्तिगत रूप से, सामाजिक रूप से और पूरा जो हमारा सोसाइटी है वो किस तरह से अच्छा हो सकता है। इसमें भी आप देखेंगे इन्होंने कितना घंटा दिया है। एक साल में इन्होंने बताया 80 घंटा इन्होंने फिजिकल एजुकेशन क्लास के लिए जो है वो हटा के रखा है। तो आप देखेंगे ये ऑस्ट्रेलिया, यूएस में इन लोगों ने, ये लोग बहुत पर्टिकुलर है कि कितना समय देना चाहिए और उसमें उस समय में जो भी हम शारीरिक क्रिया दे रहे हैं, शारीरिक गतिविधि, फिजिकल एक्टिविटी दे रहे हैं, उसके द्वारा क्या-क्या चीजें उसमें अटेंड करनी चाहिए, ये भी दे रखा है।
Let's go to a small country, no, sorry, not country, a small city of Hong Kong. All right, you can see when they are doing the curriculum reform, the report in 2017 also talk about time. And then the second thing is try to upgrade the learning into key learning areas. So the second example that I want to go with you would be something concerning about the curriculum development in Macau, the place that I'm now working. When in 2014, there was the curriculum reform, and then again, they talk about time. All right. And then in the document, it quite indicate quite clearly concerning about how much time they would be placed in physical education. And then at the same time, they are trying to initiate a new form of activities called the school leisure activity, try to combine the two together. It means that formal education will be one thing, and then at the same time, you need to have informal education. Now you can see these are the examples that when the people are going to address the issues of quality physical education, they go on all these things. Time is one of the things. And then after the time, then they try to implement different kind of activities or curriculum arrangement in order to make physical education become a attractive subjects that address our current need of students.
सर बता रहे थे कि जो हांगकांग जैसे सिटी में, वहां भी आप शारीरिक शिक्षा का जब देखेंगे, इन्होंने दिया कि कितना समय देना चाहिए, क्योंकि प्राइमरी में 5 से जो पूरा जो क्लास है उसमें से 5 से 8% समय तो शारीरिक शिक्षा के लिए देना चाहिए, जबकि जूनियर स्कूल में 5 से 8% और जो सीनियर लेवल में उन्होंने 5% देना है। इनका इलेक्टिव सब्जेक्ट भी है, लेकिन ये लोग आप इसमें बहुत क्लियरली देखेंगे कितना समय एलोकेट करना ये भी दिया है। इसके अलावा इन लोगों की शिक्षा के द्वारा जो शारीरिक जो हमारी डेवलपमेंट होती है और टोटल संपूर्ण, ये लोग सिर्फ शारीरिक तौर पे नहीं देख रहे, ये देख रहे संपूर्ण तौर से एक व्यक्ति का किस तरह से पूरा जो डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है उसके लिए है। और दूसरा इन्होंने बताया, मकाओ में भी बताया कि कितना वक्त दिया है। अब हर जगह इन्होंने फ्रेमवर्क में दिया है कि कितना वक्त देना चाहिए, कितने घंटे इस एक्टिविटी के लिए देने चाहिए। और दूसरी बात इन्होंने बताया अभी एक है कि हम लोग लेशर टाइम माने जो वक्त हम खाने पीने या सोने के अलावा हमारे पास जो वक्त रहता है उसको सही तरह से जो प्रयोग करते हैं उसको बोलते हैं लेशर टाइम। तो स्कूल में इन्होंने बोला कि दूसरे शिक्षा के अलावा ये लेशर टाइम को भी हम कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं, उसको भी जोड़ के, जिससे कि एक संपूर्ण व्यक्ति का पूरी तरह से अगर डेवलपमेंट हो, उसके लिए हम उसकी ओर देख रहे हैं। ये है इनका जो मकाओ में अभी जो चल रहा है उनका प्रोजेक्ट, संपूर्ण विकास।
Well, I pick up Macau because you can see Macau's adopt a very different policy. They try to combine the formal educations and also the what we call the informal education together. So when they are talking about a total educations, they are not talking about the learning in classroom only. They are also mentioned something concerning about after class. In fact, a non-curricular approach now become a very attractive alternative in order to enhance the development of quality physical education. So I will show you some of the example of how we are now working on a non-curricular approach in order to upgrade the quality of learning in physical education. So I would like to start with who first. Who said we need to have more time? So that's the reasons why they are talking about 60 minutes of time daily.
अभी सर बता रहे थे कि जो अभी मकाओ के बारे में बोल रहे हैं कि ये लोग जब ये शिक्षा देख रहे हैं या शारीरिक शिक्षा सिर्फ क्लास तक के कक्षा तक सीमित ही रख रहे हैं, कक्षा के बाद भी जो होते हैं तो इन्होंने पूरी तरह से संपूर्ण तरह से किस तरह से जो भी शारीरिक गतिविधि है और शारीरिक शिक्षा ये सब मिला के किस तरह से एक संपूर्ण व्यक्ति का विकास हो उसकी ओर दे रहे हैं। लेकिन ये WHO आप जानते हैं, वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने अभी एक रिकमेंडेशन दिया है इसमें इन लोगों का अगर वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बता रहा है तो मेरे को लगता है कि हर लोग हम उनको उनकी तो बात जरूर सुनेंगे, क्योंकि ये तो एक दुनिया का एक सबसे बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, अभी आप देखते हैं कोविड के टाइम भी वर्ल्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दे रहा है। लेकिन उन्होंने बताया कि सही तरह से अगर बच्चे एक व्यक्ति की शारीरिक मानसिक विकास होना है तो इन बच्चों को 5 से 17 साल के बच्चों को कम से कम 60 मिनट की शारीरिक गतिविधि या शारीरिक एक्टिविटी देना जरूरी है, तभी उसका सही तरह से उसका शारीरिक और मानसिक विकास होगा।
How
Yes,
can we achieve these things? Talking 60 minutes, an hour in daily for physical activities. How can we achieve these expectations? This is actually very difficult. So if you go on what we call the traditional physical education classes, this is actually quite impossible. You have to look for other alternative. So, well, I tell you what,
जस्ट रिपीट प्लीज। अभी सर बताते कि 60 मिनट हर रोज देना है, तो क्या एक शारीरिक शिक्षा क्लास में कभी हो सकता है, ये संभव है? तो सर बोल रहे थे कि ये हमारे मुश्किल पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हफ्ते में शायद 2 पीरियड या 3 पीरियड देते हैं जहाँ ले सकते हैं। इसके लिए हमें दूसरी और भी हमें देखना, ऑप्शन देखना पड़ेगा, क्या किसी और के द्वारा किसी और हम समय दे सकते हैं जहाँ बच्चे लोग शारीरिक क्रिया में, शारीरिक गतिविधि में भाग ले, उससे ये हो सकता है। उसके बारे में सर अभी जानकारी देंगे।
I want to show you this survey. In fact, these surveys tell you how we are now actually experiencing the drop of time in physical activities. These are the curriculum time that the report mentions, but it would be more interesting to learn about these tables. Well, the report actually indicate that in the year 2000, in primary, overall speaking, there will be about 116 minutes per week in physical education. But in 2013, it dropped to 97. In the secondary schools, in the year 2000, you have about 143 minutes recorded for physical education. But now in 2013, 13 years later, you just get 99 minutes only. So there's an experience of drop of curriculum time in physical education. This is the truth. This is the reality.
अभी आप सर ये बता रहे थे कि अभी आप देखेंगे, हम तो बोल रहे थे कि कितने घंटे, आप देख रहे हैं 2000 यूनेस्को का जो अनुसंधान के द्वारा इन्होंने बताया कि 2006 में 2000 में जो प्राइमरी जो स्कूल में थे उसमें 16 घंटे मिले, जबकि 207 में वो 100 था, लेकिन 2013 तक तो वो 100 के नीचे आ गया। तो हमारे जितने अवर हम लोग फिजिकल दे उसका काम वो समय घट गया। सेकेंडरी स्कूल में बता रहे पहले 2000 में था 143 आवर्स थे, लेकिन वो देखा कि 2013 में वो दोबारा 100 के नीचे आ गया। तो हम देख रहे हैं कि जैसे बढ़ रहा आगे, जैसे हम आगे चल रहे हैं, हमारी जो शारीरिक शिक्षा की जो क्लास का जो टाइम है वो कम होता जा रहा है, दूसरे विषय को ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस जा रहा है, उसके लिए दे रहे हैं। तो इस तरह का एक बदलाव हम देख रहे हैं। तो अभी ये सारे बता रहे, क्योंकि सर का यही टॉपिक है कि यथार्थ में क्या है। यथार्थ तो ये है, कल्पित हम करते कुछ और है, लेकिन यथार्थ अभी आप ये जो देख रहे हैं वो है यथार्थ। यस सर।
So that's the reasons why we need to think in another alternative way in order to help the student to get active. So there are a number of research that actually been done in the past. For example, like here, I mentioned a few research projects done by Tudor Locke et al. In 2006 and Bowsett in 2013. They are also working concerning about the rules of curriculum time in physical education. So the only way for us that we need to help would be to turn to what we call the learn curricular approach. So here is one of the examples that I want to call with you. And these persons has a book really talking a lot of things concerning about how we can help the student to get active through the learn curricular approach. This is one example that I give it to you. And the other examples would be, well, okay, I think better go for this one first, okay.
You want me to explain or you're doing that?
Well, okay, if you, well, you can
No,
wait.
I left out the previous one, please. This is slide number, right? Yes.
This is the, yeah, this is actually,
शारीरिक शिक्षा को जो समय बहुत ज्यादा कम हो रहा है, और ये तो कई अनुसंधान के द्वारा, जैसे ट्यूडर लॉक ने 2006 में बताया कि 8 से 10% बच्चे जो हैं उनको सही तरह से शारीरिक गतिविधि नहीं मिल रही है, बहुत कम जा रहा है। 2013 में भी बेसेट ने ये देखा कि शारीरिक शिक्षा का जो क्लास है वो 40% से जो हम लोग रेकमेंड करते थे 60 मिनट तक, लेकिन ये देख रहा है कि बहुत कम मिल रहा है। तो ये देख रहे हैं कि जैसे बढ़ रहा है तो समय कम जा रहा है। लेकिन इसमें बता रहे हैं आप शारीरिक शिक्षा के पीरियड के अलावा हमें कुछ और भी देखना चाहिए जहां बच्चों को ही शारीरिक गतिविधि दिया जाए। तो ये लोग देखते हैं जो हमारा इंटरवल ब्रेक होता है, आप देखते हैं खाने का जो ब्रेक होता है उस समय कुछ खेल दे, और स्कूल के बाद, स्कूल आवर के बाद अगर दिया जाए तो स्कूल में लंच जो ब्रेक है वो ब्रेक वक्त में और साथ में खेल के बाद भी करेंगे तो वो सही स्ट्रक्चर्ड फिजिकल एक्टिविटी नहीं होगा। बगैर बच्चे खुद खेलेंगे उसके द्वारा हम बच्चों की जो शारीरिक गतिविधि बढ़ा सकते हैं। ये एक और तरीका है। यस सर।
Okay, I want to show you one example. Well, when we have all these ideas, then how can we to make it happen in a school? So here is one of the examples that I want to show with you. This is a school in Singapore called Hougang Primary Schools. If you take a look at their website, you will find there is a what we call the Learning for Life program. If you go to their school, you will find this school is not an ordinary school. And then this is actually the outside wall of the school. You can find the headmaster. The school actually fixes a different kind of adventure activities for the student to go. And then if you go take a look of their curriculum works, then you will see there is a what we call the OAE program. All right, and then this OAE program is going on every level. Every level. If you are in the primary 1, you have your own activities. Primary 2, another, until you are primary 6 before you leave the school. And so you can see how schools are trying to experiment and trying to put the non-curricular activities into the school, become part of the curriculum, so that you can help the student to extend the opportunity of physical activities.
इस सर ने सिंगापुर का एक सर कैन शो द प्रीवियस स्लाइड प्लीज। प्रीवियस ये सर आगे अभी सर बता दिए सर, सिंगापुर में एक स्कूल की बता रहे हैं क्योंकि हमारे पास जब सुविधा नहीं होती है, हम जब क्लास में हम शारीरिक शिक्षा के लिए पीरियड कम है, उसके लिए हम कैसे स्कूल में जोड़ सकते हैं। तो सबसे अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दे रखा था उन्होंने, लर्निंग फॉर लाइफ प्रोग्राम है जो हम सीख रहे हैं जिंदगी के लिए। तो आपने स्कूल का पिक्चर देखा होगा, इसमें आप देख रहे हैं सारी एडवेंचर की है, जहाँ बच्चे रोप क्लाइंबिंग या रॉक क्लाइंबिंग या जो भी है, ये काफी जिससे में स्ट्रेंथ बिल्डअप कर सकते हैं, बच्चों को काफी एक्सपीरियंस मिलता है एडवेंचर एक्टिविटीज करने का। तो वो ये ऐसी सारी एक्टिविटीज जिससे कि उनकी बेसिक स्किल भी डेवलप हो, उसमें से डर हट जाए और जिंदगी के लिए पूरी तैयार हो जाए। इसमें ये एक्टिविटी इनकी शुरू से प्राइमरी 1 से 6 क्लास तक बच्चों को करना है, लेकिन ये इतनी इंटरेस्टिंग है, बच्चे खुद करते हैं। तो सर बता रहे थे कि इन्होंने कितनी अच्छी तरह से शिक्षा में इसको जोड़ दिया। तो जब स्कूल सेटिंग में शिक्षा में जोड़ दिया, बच्चों को वो ठीक अच्छा लगा, बच्चे कर रहे हैं, इससे उनकी शारीरिक गतिविधि बढ़ गई है और शारीरिक शिक्षा सिखाने में और भी अच्छा पड़ जाता है।
So you can see, all right, okay, adoptions of non-curricular concept is now becomes a pervasive factor. Here are some of the projects that actually come to the names of this kind of idea, like the Treatment Fit in Singapore, the Living in Motion 1 to 3 in Macau, the Fitness Award Scheme in Hong Kong, and then Yugochi in Austria, and then the Active Healthy Kid in Australia. So these, you can see, these are the projects they're trying to put in the school in order to help the student get active. We are now adopting a non-curricular approach in order to work to make it happen.
अभी बता दें कि दूसरी हमारी ये करिकुलम जो शारीरिक शिक्षा थी वो अलग होती है। करिकुलम के अलावा इन्होंने कई प्रोजेक्ट्स है जो हम स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं हमारे स्कूल में, जिससे हम बच्चों को उनकी शारीरिक क्षमता बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो अभी सर ने दिया है सिंगापुर का जो ट्रिम एंड फिट है, मकाओ का सर खुद पे जो लिविंग इन मोशन है, माने हम मूव करते रहे, फिटनेस अवार्ड हांगकांग का है, उगोशी ऑस्ट्रेलिया का है, और कैसे स्वस्थ और फिट किड हेल्दी बच्चे हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया के। तो कई प्रोजेक्ट्स, बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स हम दुनिया भर में देखते हैं। काफी इन्होंने शुरुआत की, उनका सिर्फ एक विषय था कि शारीरिक शिक्षा की पीरियड कम होने की वजह से किसी आदमी बच्चों पे असर नहीं पड़नी चाहिए, उसके लिए हमें जो करिकुलम के बाहर कुछ ऐसा देके बच्चों को खूब मनोरंजन हो, उस तरह से बच्चे खुद उसमें भाग ले, ऐसा एक हमें माहौल बनाना चाहिए। ये कई राज्य ने, हम देख रहे हैं भारत में भी हो रहा है, तो ऐसे राज्य इन लोगों ने ऐसा कार्यक्रम कराया। So
if that's not enough, then you can actually go to some of the report. For example, like the EU Physical Activity Guide talks about this approach. The educating student body, this is another book, decided to move by Nike 2012, the best practice in intervention to promote physical activity, and Canada's Physical Activity Guide. Now, these are all the on-hand materials that actually you can find information on what you can do.
मैं इसे बता दी कि अगर हम आप कुछ अगर सर्च करना चाहें तो ये सारी यूरोपियन यूनियन की फिजिकल एक्टिविटी की गाइड है, बच्चों के जो शिक्षा है, स्टूडेंट्स का एक गाइड है, कोयल का डिजाइन डेमो, नाइकी का एक गाइड है जो 2012 में था, किस तरह से जो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस हम लोग शारीरिक गतिविधि बढ़ाने का, ये WHO का 2005 है, कनाडा की फिजिकल एक्टिविटी गाइड, ये सारी आपको गूगल में मिल जाएगी। लेकिन अगर इसके द्वारा हम उसमें से कुछ सीख ले सकते हैं जो हम अपने जहाँ स्कूल है, संस्थान है, वहां उसमें लागू कर सकते हैं। लेकिन ये शारीरिक क्लास, फिजिकल एजुकेशन क्लास के लिए नहीं, क्लास के अलावा भी हम कुछ प्रोजेक्ट ऐसा लेना चाहिए जिससे उसमें बच्चों को मनोरंजन हो, उसमें बच्चे जुड़े रहे और उसमें बच्चों को खुद अच्छा लगे, और सारी जो स्कूल की जो संस्थान है सब इसमें शामिल होकर बोले कि शारीरिक शिक्षा हमको चाहिए। Yes.
So I think better skip this one. I better go to this one. Okay, now you can see, we should take a look at all the development from international, from school, from countries, from different regional organizations. Then you will see that, well, we have a very good components, or well, we have all these informations in order to develop the quality physical education in school. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes,
सर बता
okay.
दें कि हम लोग गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा के लिए कई की पॉइंट्स हैं, और इसमें हमें देखना चाहिए कि हमको किस तरह से एक बदलाव लाना चाहिए जिससे स्वस्थ और शारीरिक शिक्षा की पाठ्यक्रम में हो। इसमें हमें काफी चीजें बदलाव लानी चाहिए, कई एक्टिविटीज होनी चाहिए। हमें ये नहीं देखना कि पहले जो सिखाया था उसी की तरह से, लेकिन अभी जरूरत के मुताबिक कैसे हम बदल सकते हैं, कुछ नया चीजें ला सकते हैं, उनकी जरूरतों को पूरा करने के उस तरह से हम कुछ नियम लागू करें तो वो अच्छा रहेगा। लेकिन हमेशा हमें ये याद रखना है कि बच्चों का जो स्वास्थ्य है उसको रख के उसको कैसे प्रोत्साहन करें, बच्चों को किस तरह से थोड़ा सा और एक्टिव बनाएं, उनमें क्षमता बढ़े। इस तरह से अगर हम करेंगे और सबको, सब क्षेत्र वालों को एक साथ लेंगे, तभी ये संभव हो सकता है।
Okay, I think I need to go faster. But what happened in the reality? I tell you what, these are all the things that we have developed, but it doesn't mean that it touched the ground, the physical education teacher, or touched the school teachers. Here are some of the comments from the teachers. For example, like in Singapore, you have the staffing problem. In China, you have the lack of accurate space and equipment. In Taiwan regions, you have the cultural bias. In Pakistan, you have the lack of funds and space and in realities. And so in Venezuela, you have the lack of qualified physical education teachers. And then in Mexico, many schools did not have a physical education teachers. And then in some of the case, the principal do not want or do not believe in physical education. And this is actually another real realities. Time was reduced, making way for literacy and numeracy works in class. So if you take a look of the Irish National Teachers Organization, the INTO in 2005 survey, and then you will find that Europe is also in troubles. Like in some of the parts of Europe, there is the inaccurate of facilities, insufficient of places and equipments, and then, well, these are the problems that we are now facing, and this is actually another reality.
So can you just show that? That's important because PE teacher know. अभी क्या समस्याएं गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा में, अब सिंगापुर ने बताया कि इन लोगों की स्टाफ की ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है। चाइना में देखे कि इन लोगों को जगह जो है, क्योंकि जनसंख्या ज्यादा है, जगह जो कक्षा में स्कूल में जगह है शारीरिक शिक्षा के लिए, और इक्विपमेंट सुविधाएं कम थी। ताइवान में भी यही था कि उनकी जो रीति रिवाज कुछ ऐसे थे, उनमें इक्विपमेंट्स भी कम था, रिसोर्सेस था, वो सब इनके लिए बाधाएं बन चुकी थी। और पाकिस्तान में भी उन लोगों को फिजिकल एजुकेशन में समस्या हुई, और वेनेजुएला में था कि क्वालिफाइड, जो हम लोग यहाँ बोलते हैं, जो स्कूल में अपॉइंट किए, कई जगह क्वालिफाइड जो फिजिकल एजुकेशन टीचर्स नहीं थे। लेकिन आप देखेंगे मैक्सिको बताते हैं बहुत सारे स्कूल ऐसी है जहां उनको फिजिकल टीचर्स ही अपॉइंट नहीं करते थे। लेकिन ज्यादातर ये देखा गया है, काफी जगह जो स्कूल के जो हेड है, प्रिंसिपल, वो बोलते हैं हमको फिजिकल एजुकेशन ज्यादा उसको ज्यादा अहमियत नहीं देते हैं। लेकिन जो हमारी सच्चाई है जो हमें बताता है जो सही है वही बताते हैं कि अभी जो है फिजिकल एजुकेशन का समय बहुत कम किया गया है, वो ये सब हम जान गए हैं। दूसरा है आजकल जो दूसरे सब्जेक्ट है जैसे कि हम बोलते हैं मैथमेटिक्स साइंस या जो भी होता है उस पे बहुत ज्यादा जोर देके उसका समय बढ़ा के शारीरिक शिक्षा का समय काफी कम कर दिया। ये सब यानी दुनिया में काफी जगह पर ऐसा है जहाँ पर इनको सही तरह से जगह नहीं देते, उनको इक्विपमेंट देते, फिजिकल टीचर्स का अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं होता। ये हम देखते हैं कि पूरी जो दुनिया उसमें से आधा राज्य ज्यादा उन्होंने देखा कि उनको सब जगह देखे कि उनकी इक्विपमेंट नहीं होती और इस तरह से बहुत सारी समस्याएं हमें लगता है भारत में है। भारत में मुझे लग रहा है हम लोग बहुत और देशों से मुझे लग रहा है हम काफी अच्छे हैं देखा जाए तो एटलीस्ट आप देखेंगे पूरे तरह से। लेकिन आप देखेंगे दुनिया में देखेंगे काफी ऐसी जगह है जहाँ उनको शारीरिक शिक्षा करने की सुविधाएं नहीं होती है। यस सर।
We talk about more time as a student, more time in physical education, but in reality, it is not. This is actually the table that I captured from the Worldwide Survey on School Physical Education in 2013. Then you can see how many how many percentage reporting that they'll be good or excellent or accurate or below average. I want to give you these examples again. This is actually the same from the worldwide survey. Concern about how many minutes of time allocated in physical education per week. You will find 145, but at the same time you will find 60, 90, 75, something like that. So on the one hand, we're talking about the myth and hope, but at the same time we understand this is the reality. We face in another world.
जस्ट आप ये देख रहे हैं चार्ट, आप इसमें तो दिख रहा है कि ये लोग कितनी सुविधाएं हैं दे रखी है। तो आप देखते हैं एशिया में काफी कम है, एक्सीलेंट में बहुत कम मिल रही है। चार्ट क्लियरली बताता है कि कौन सा राज्य में देख रहे हैं कि ज्यादा सुविधाएं हैं जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और फैसिलिटी के मुताबिक हम ये देख रहे हैं। सर कम टू द सेकंड स्लाइड सर, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड सर। इसमें आप देखेंगे कि कितना समय दिया जा रहा है शारीरिक शिक्षा में। तो आप ये देखेंगे कई कई राज्य तो 150 मिनट तक एक हफ्ते में दे रहे हैं, लेकिन आप भारत का राज्य जो देख रहे हैं, भारत राज्य हम इसमें 60 मिनट दे रखा है। 60 मिनट एक हफ्ते में सिर्फ हम 60 मिनट दे रहे हैं। ये अनुसंधान के मुताबिक जो इनको पाया गया है। तो आप देखेंगे कितना कम वक्त हम दे रहे हैं शारीरिक शिक्षा के क्लास के लिए, कक्षा के लिए। यस सर।
So we are facing the staffing issues. We are facing the inaccurate duration of physical lessons. We are lack of accurate space. We are in lack of funds and facilities. We are lack of interest in physical education and lack of qualified physical teachers. This is the reality.
अभी आपकी जो सच्चाई क्या है, हम देखते हैं कि स्टाफ बहुत कम है और हमारे जो समय है वो बहुत कम हो रहा है। शारीरिक शिक्षा लेने का क्लास का समय कम हो गया है। जगह बहुत कम दी जाती है, हमें वो सुविधाएं कम है। आर्थिक में भी सहायता बहुत कम होती है। और हम ये देख रहे हैं आजकल इंटरेस्ट भी बहुत कम हो रहा है। और ये देख रहे हैं कि हमारे पास हम काफी जगह जो क्वालिफाइड है, बोलते हैं क्वालिफाइड पी टीचर्स को नहीं ले पा रहे या कम है। यस सर, ये समस्याएं हैं। या ये अभी सर ये बताना चाहते हैं कि जो सच्चाई क्या है और वो सोच अलग है। सर सच्चाई पे आ रहे हैं, सच्चाई पे अनुसंधान के द्वारा ही आते हैं। काफी लोग बातचीत तो करते हैं, लेकिन सच्चाई क्या है उसके बारे में जानकारी लेना भी जरूरी है सर।
So well, when we know about all these things, then certainly we cannot just go to ask or research on the policy. We need to go and ask about the voices from the professional, because these are the people who work in the field of physical education. So many of our studies actually focus on policy development and implementation of this policy to relation to the outcome of learning in students. I tell you what, the result certainly will be positive, because you are trying to put some what we call the intervention, do it in a focal group of research, then certainly the result will be positive. But we seldom ask the professional in physical education how much that they understand the development, how much of these things that can be adopted in the class. So the expert will voice out the definition of physical education, but how much that these concepts being known by the professional is actually a deeper concerns. And actually this is a question that we need to ask.
ये सर बता रहे थे कि इसमें जो सबसे बड़ी समस्या ये आई है कि जो भी नियम बनाते हैं वो तो एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं, वो टॉप में वो लोगों ने ग्राउंड में कभी काम नहीं किया होता है। अब जैसे आप सारे शारीरिक शिक्षा के टीचर हैं, आप तो काम कर रहे हैं, आपको पता है जरूरत क्या है, लेकिन जो ऊपर है वो लोग नियम बनाते हैं, कुछ भी पॉइंट्स देके, किताबें देख के, रेफर करके नियम बनाते हैं, लेकिन वो क्या समझ पाते क्या या ये नियम शारीरिक शिक्षा में लागू करने से सही विकास होगा, ये क्योंकि वो सिर्फ हम सोच के बनाते हैं, लेकिन जो जो ऐसा करने में हमेशा एक समस्या, और हमें अपनी आवाज उठानी चाहिए, क्या ये सही है। तो इस तरह से कई बार क्या होता है, नियम बनाना बना लेते हैं, लेकिन वो कई बार वो सही जगह उस स्थिति में वो लागू नहीं कर पाते। तो इसके लिए हमें जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं, जो सही, जैसे आप लोग सब काम कर रहे हैं, आपका जो आवाज अगर ऊपर तक पहुंच जाए तो हम तो नियम बनाने वालों का थोड़ा सा और सही दिशा मिलेगा।
Okay, so what does the term physical education mean for health and physical education teachers? This is actually the question not asked by me, but answered by two researchers called Williams and Pius in Australia in 2019. They had a paper in this area, but of course, I myself do not agree with their point. But their question is correct. What does the term quality physical education mean for us as a professional?
इसे बताती कि एक अनुसंधान में इन्होंने निकाला पेपर कि ये गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा क्या है। अगर जो टीचर शारीरिक शिक्षा पढ़ा रहे हैं उनसे पूछा जाए कि गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा क्या है, उनसे अगर आप जवाब मिले तो वो सही होगा, क्योंकि उससे ही हमको समानता मिलेगी कि वो किस ढंग से सोचते कि गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा क्या होनी चाहिए। yes.
So that's the reasons why the four international associations, International Society of Competitive PE and Sport, International Federation of Adaptive Physical Activity, International Association of Physical Education and Sport for Girls and Women, Federation International de Education Physical. So these four international associations decided to launch a research and to collect the information from the professional, that is their voices. So the project actually started from 2010 until present is still going on.
अभी ऐसा बताते कि इसके लिए कि जब इनको मालूम पड़ना था कि सही जो सच्चाई क्या है, उसके बारे में जानकारी करने के लिए 4 ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो कि संस्थान, जो कि आप ऊपर देख रहे हैं, इंटरनेशनल सोसाइटी फॉर कंपैरेटिव स्टडीज से हम इपास के भी इधर है, FIP के भी हमारे सर आ चुके हैं, और इसके बाद इंटरनेशनल फेडरेशन एडेप्शन फिजिकल एक्टिविटी में थे। ये सारी जो 4 जो अंतरराष्ट्रीय संस्थान है, ये लोग सब मिलके इन्होंने एक अनुसंधान किया कि हम इसके बारे में जानकारी करेंगे कि गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा क्या है, और जो लोग शारीरिक शिक्षा को हैंडल कर रहे हैं, शारीरिक शिक्षा के अध्यापक, उनकी आवाजों के लिए उन पे अनुसंधान करने के लिए 2010 से ये इसकी शुरुआत हुई थी। Yes, sir.
The research is complicated.
और अभी तक चल रही है सब, इट्स गोइंग ऑन टिल नाउ, राइट, 2010 टू प्रेजेंट, 2010 से आज अभी तक उसकी पूरी डेटा कलेक्शन और सारी जो है वो चल रही है, उनका अनुसंधान चल रहा है। Yes.
The research is complicated. I'm not able to describe everything to you or all. I'm trying to select a few things that I think would be interesting to let you know about some of the interesting points that we have discovered. So the first project that we did is called the Global Voices on Physical Education. It started in 2010 to 2012. So this project tried to ask a few questions, but the major points of this research is that we collect about 470 pieces of useful statements, okay, concerning about the idea of qualitative physical education. And based on these statements, and then we work out to go to the second phase, and that is the survey on perceptions of quality physical education in 2013 to 2015. So we have 400 statements collected in the first phase. We try to regroup and scan all these statements, and then it comes to 65. These 65 items, and then we try to put them generally into 3 different categories, called the general perceptions on quality physical education, quality physical education learning, and support for quality physical education.
अभी सब बताते कि ये जो इन्होंने एक अनुसंधान शुरू किया 2010 में शुरू किया, ये चारों संस्थानों ने मिलके, लेकिन इन्होंने जब 400 से ऊपर लोगों की एक स्टेटमेंट माने जो लिखा हुआ होता है कि गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा क्या, उसको पूरा लिया, तो उसमें से 400 जो लिखित है उनकी वो ली, ये थी जो हमारे जो शारीरिक शिक्षा के अध्यापक उन लोगों की आवाज, तो वो लोग क्या चाहते हैं उनके बारे में, वो गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा ने उनके बारे में क्या बोला है, उतनी 400 लोगों का उनको मिला। और नेक्स्ट प्लीज सर, ये 2010 से 12 था, 2013 से 15 में वो 400 में से इन्होंने फिर जो है 65 आइटम्स निकाले और उसको उन्होंने 3 कैटेगरी में उनको डिवाइड किया। जो पहला था कि जो परसेप्शन है, मेरे को एग्जैक्टली सारा हिंदी नहीं आ रहा, कि वो जो शारीरिक गुणवत्ता के बारे में किस तरह से वो सोचते हैं, और दूसरी है उससे क्या सीख मिलती है, तीसरा है कि वो क्या है जो सपोर्ट सिस्टम है जिससे कि शारीरिक गुणवत्ता हो। ये 3 तरह से इन लोगों ने उसको ये जो 65 आइटम्स थे उसको इन तीनों में डिवाइड किया। तो ये इस तरह से इनका अनुसंधान चल रहा है सर।
Now, so you evaluating the 65 items, and then in fact we invite professionals from Asia, Latin America, and Europe to review these 65 items. And I tell you what, well, they are quite similar, but in fact they are actually a little bit different on that. So we take a look at these things, and then we decide to focus on the 1799 response from 11 cities in Asia, and then to try to take a look of how they review of these 65 items. And then, well, this is actually very interesting. And then we will find that there'll be about 17 items because of what we call the no factor loading. They are out, and only 48 items remain. And then this 48 item turned to be the 8 dimensions. And so these 8 dimensions are consistently revealed by all the professionals as important whenever we talk about quality physical education. Now remember one thing, when we ask the people what is quality physical education, would they have a very diversified thought? They would talk of this and this and this and this. But when we group them together, become 65, and ask them to evaluate, single out some of the what we call the no factor loading factors, and then this 48 item under the 8 dimension, and are actually consistently seen by these professionals as important elements whenever we talk about quality physical education. So it means that when we are talking about quality physical education, it has the elements on the skill and bodily awareness. It has the elements on facility and norms. It has the elements on quality teaching. It has the elements on feasibility and accessibility that would be on inclusions and disability. It will has the elements on norms and cultural practice. It has the elements on government input. It has the elements on cognitive skill development. It has the elements on habitual behavior in physical activities.
अभी ये सब बता रहे थे कि ये अनुसंधान के तौर पे इन्होंने पहले 400 में से फिर इन्होंने 65 आइटम्स लिया, लेकिन इसके अलावा 65 से भी इन लोगों ने जब पूरा देखा, इसमें से उनको सिर्फ 48 50 से नीचे आइटम्स मिले, और 50 से नीचे आइटम इन्होंने देखा कि 8 जो आइटम्स थे वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट था, क्योंकि सब लोगों ने कॉमन तरह से ये, इसके बाद सर नेक्स्ट प्लीज सर। यस, अब इसमें जो इन्होंने इसकी जो फैक्टर्स बताए थे कि जो बोलते हैं कि अगर गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा होनी चाहिए, उसमें जरूर स्किल डेवलपमेंट होनी चाहिए, और उसमें जो हमारी जो फैसिलिटी है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और नॉर्म्स भी होनी चाहिए, किस तरह से पढ़ाते हैं उसका भी होना चाहिए, और बच्चों को उसके लिए अवसर मिले, और उसमें जो है हम बोलते हैं जो रीति रिवाज हो वहां का, उस कल्चर को भी उसमें लागू किया जाए। हमारी जो गवर्नमेंट किस तरह से शारीरिक शिक्षा को का प्रभाव पड़ता है वो भी आ जाए, और ये शारीरिक शिक्षा के द्वारा मानसिक तौर पे जो हम लोग जो बोलते हैं जिससे सीख मिलती है उसका डेवलपमेंट हो, और व्यवहार के तौर पे भी ये शारीरिक शिक्षा, ये सारी जो कॉमन है, माने जब गुणवत्ता बोलते ये सारी गुणवत्ता में आ जाने चाहिए। सबने जो भी जिन लोगों ने भी बोला उनमें से काफी लोगों ने यही जो आप सेंटेंस देख रहे हैं इसका जो रिपीटेड सेंटेंस लाया, तभी वो इस तरह से आ पाए। यस सर।
Okay, now come to my last part concerning about the conclusion remarks. I need to say thanks for the development from the international groups and the effort being with new concept for quality physical education developments. This is the first thing that I need to thank. without all this international work, we will not be able to see the change. We were not able to see the elements. We were not able to see what are the important points in the physical education. These people work from the year of 1980s to years 2010 or even after 2010s, and then develop a whole lot of information that can give us a very good background for us to understand about quality physical education. Yet, we have to understand that frontline working people has a diversified understanding. Yes, certainly, we see the thing differently. We do not necessarily to be the same understanding of what the UNESCO people announce. We, in fact, have a different voices because we are the frontline people. We are working in the schools. We are facing the students, and that is another reality. So that we reflect that the practical understanding of what PE should be if QPE is the concerns. So our current study indicates that there are consistent thought on statements that are relevant to the issues from professionals concerning about quality physical education. Now, this is important. When we take a look at these 8 dimensions, these statements, they are actually standing in line with the understanding of the UNESCO report in 2005, guidelines in QPE for policymakers in 2015, ICSSP benchmark in PE 2012, last pass understanding and last pass PE standards in 2004, and then the PCAP, the CDC analytical tool in QPE in 2006. Take a look at that. They match. Although they are not talking about physical education, but in fact, these people identify the same kind of elements actually in line with these documents or with this kind of expert advice concerning about the quality physical education.
सर इसकी जो महत्व क्या है, किस तरह से सर सबसे पहले सर शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहते हैं जो अंतरराष्ट्रीय संस्थान है, जैसा आपने देखा एक्सपी है, इपैसडोवे, FIP है, इंटरनेशनल अडैप्टेड फिजिकल एक्टिविटी का है, और यूनेस्को है। इन सब संस्थान को सर धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं और शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहते हैं। लेकिन सर बोलते हैं कि जब हम देखते हैं ऐसे कई संस्थान में जो लोग नियम बनाते हैं, लेकिन अगर उनको शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में जानकारी ना हो तो कई बार वो नियम सही तरह से हो नहीं सकता, क्योंकि जो लोग इस पे काम करते हैं वो सही तरह से बता पाएंगे कि इसकी क्या जरूरत है। इसलिए उनकी आवाज सुनना, उनका आवाज बहुत जरूरी है। समानता अगर उनकी आवाज में और जो नियम बनाते हैं दोनों में समान, तभी वह एक गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा हो सकती है। तो इसलिए जब हम प्रैक्टिकल तौर पे तो ये बोलते हैं कि सत्यावस्था क्या है, हम जो सच्चाई क्या है, सच्चाई हम बहुत कुछ चीजें किताबें लिख सकते हैं, क्या वो सही तरह लागू हो सकता है, यह एक बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न है और ये बहुत बड़ी समस्या है। क्योंकि हम काफी ये लोग 2010 से कहते हैं 1987 पहले से ही लोग इसके पीछे संघर्ष कर रहे हैं, मेहनत कर रहे हैं। शारीरिक शिक्षा को एक उच्च स्तर पर लाने के लिए बहुत लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं। हमारी ये अंतरराष्ट्रीय जो संस्था है ये बहुत सारा कर रही है। इसकी वजह से आप देखेंगे यूनेस्को है, UN है और WHO सारे अभी शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में बात आ गई है, वो लोग बात कर रहे हैं। तो इसमें ये लोग बोलते हैं, सर ने जो अभी इन्होंने अनुसंधान किया, इसमें जो इनके जो 8 पॉइंट्स आए, ये इनकी उस पॉइंट्स की समानता, सर का जो अनुसंधान था वो था लोगों की आवाज की। किन की आवाज? शारीरिक शिक्षा जो करते हैं, जो खुद स्वयं करते हैं, उनकी आवाज थी। तो उन्होंने देखा कि वो जो यूनेस्को में 2005 की रिपोर्ट थी और जो क्वालिटी फिजिकल 2015 की, एक्सपी की जो 2012 की, नेस्पे की भी जो 2000 है और CDC जो टूल है पीकेट का, ये सब में समानता था, लेकिन उन्होंने कभी भी इसको ऊपर उठाया नहीं था। तो सर बोलते कि अनुसंधान के द्वारा ये मालूम पड़ पाए। तो ये जो भी आप लेके आए, जो डायमेंशन सर ने अभी बताया, ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। तो हम अगर ये हमें ये बोलना कि ये सारी जो भी डायमेंशन बताया वो जरूरी है एक गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा के लिए। इस तरह से अगर जब तक हम बाहर लाएंगे, हमें शिक्षा में स्थान, क्योंकि सबसे हम देखते हैं शिक्षा, क्या शिक्षा में शारीरिक शिक्षा का अगर स्थान लेना है, महत्वपूर्ण स्थान आना है, उसके लिए हमें बहुत कोशिश करनी पड़ी। इसके पीछे बहुत लोग संघर्ष भी कर रहे हैं। तो इसमें आप देख रहे हैं अभी तक इनका संघर्ष चल रहा है, जो अभी वॉल्टर सर कर रहे हैं और इनकी पूरी जो टीम कर रही है, अभी तक संघर्ष कर रही है किस तरह से जो ऊपर की जो एजेंसीज है उनको समझाएं कि क्या सही गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा है। Yes, sir.
In the past, in the past, it is actually very difficult to make research or understanding concerning about the study of quality physical education, because it doesn't have a specific framework for us to do. But thanks to this research work, after we identify these 8 elements, they are actually in a very consistency status. And so with this discovery of these 8 dimensions, now we will be easy for us to focus on strategic analysis, or even to take a look at the relationship between dimensions. Well, how these dimensions are being connected. And so these are the messages that we want to understand and find out.
अभी ये सर बताते कि जो पहले था, पहले इन्होंने एक फ्रेमवर्क तरह का, अभी देखिए 400 आइटम थे, 400 से इन्होंने 65 लाए, 65 से फिर अभी आप देख रहे हैं 8 बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डायमेंशंस को लेके आए, लेकिन इसकी वजह से एक दिशा मिल गई, जबकि पहले इसके बारे में ऐसा कार्यक्रम के ब्रेकअप कुछ दिया नहीं गया था, जिसकी वजह से लोगों को अनुसंधान करने में समस्या थी। लेकिन अभी ये अभी काफी आसानी, कभी अभी रास्ता थोड़ा सा और नजर आ रहा है, इन लोगों ने दिशाएं बनाई है, क्योंकि अभी ये आइटम से 2010 से जो काम कर रहे हैं अनुसंधान, उसके लिए अभी काफी तैयारी हो चुकी है, जिससे कि अभी शारीरिक शिक्षा में सही तरह से क्या है और कैसा है, इसके बारे में जानकारी देने के लिए वो और थोड़ा सा आसान हो गया है। Yes, sir.
So I tell you what, professional are not our knowledge in the quality physical education development. We are not our knowledge. We do understand, but our concerns are certainly very different to the people who talk about these things in UNESCO office. So their concerns, the concern from professional, indicate the lead of development from a practical sense of view, because these people are working in the field of physical education in school. So they develop their concept from the practical sense. Well, this understanding enables our team in Macau to go to the third phases of research that being launched in 2019 to 2021 this year. This research called the Global Index of Quality Physical Education. This is actually the part 2 that I hope that I can share within this platform, and concerning about the tool and also the city ranking. How we're going to make use of these tools in order to understand about the different strategy, different parts of developments, and how these parts are being banked together in order to develop a better quality physical education. But of course, not now, because time is not enough. But I hope that I will have the second part, the part 2 of sharings in the same platform, to indicate about what will be the successful information that we discover from this study.
Are you going to take it up now? Part 2, you said are you going to share now?
No, the part 2 will be after you attend the 20 February conference.
Sure. अभी सर ये बता रहे थे कि ये तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, क्योंकि सर बता रहे थे कि हम लोग, हमारे में जो काफी एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, और उन लोगों को जानकारी बहुत ज्यादा है गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में, उसमें हमें कैसा विकास करना है, और इसमें जो समस्याएं आ रही है उसको भी बताया, जिससे कि हम सही दिशा में जाएं। लेकिन अगर हम शारीरिक शिक्षा के गुणवत्ता शारीरिक शिक्षा में जाना चाहते हैं, तो हमें तीसरी बेस पे जानी पड़ेगी। और ये लोग अभी एक स्टडी दे रहे हैं, जो ग्लोबल इंडेक्स है, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, जो हम देख रहे हैं, जो हम बताते हैं, जैसे जो फिटनेस इंडेक्स एक सिटी का दिया जाता है, अगर ग्लोबल इंडेक्स QP का मिल जाए तो बहुत बड़ी बात है, और वो 2019 से 21 तक का था। तो सर कहते हैं ये पार्ट 2 है, क्योंकि सर ने अभी इनका एक सेमिनार चलने वाला है जो 20 तारीख को है। उसके बाद सर ने कहा मैं जो दूसरा पार्ट है, जो ग्लोबल इंडेक्स ऑफ QP, उसकी तब लेंगे। अभी सर के पास वक्त नहीं है, क्योंकि ये एक टूल है जो थोड़ा समय लगता है लेने में। Yes, sir. That's very interesting to hear that. You're going to come with a global fitness index of quality physical. I got so excited they're going to put it in. I said, I'm not going to translate anymore.
Okay. So I can only say to you, thank you very much for your kind attentions, and hope that I shall have the opportunity again to share with you concerning about the city development, the tool of this QPE study. And then, well, on the second part, I'm looking forward for this second part of developments, probably maybe in June or in May or something like that. But certainly will be after 20 February. User is invited to come to our sharing sections to learn a bit, to learn how these things develops and how we're going to use this as a kind of tool in order to learn about quality physics education in the whole world.
Thank you so much. It was such a wonderful session. मैं कहता आप सारे participants काफी जानकारी मिल गई होगी. हम लोग शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में बात करते हैं, हम करते हैं, लेकिन हमें अभी जो चल रहा है दुनिया में जो चल रहा है उसके बारे में जानकारी ज्यादा नहीं थी. हमें वॉल्टर सर ने पूरा समझाया. तो I think it's indeed we are so thankful to Dr. Walter for having given this elaborate discussion. But there were a lot of questions actually I was asking when you put it. Could you just explain a bit onto your 1 to 3 emotions in Macau, please, because that is really in your profile. What is this living in motion 1 to 3? सर का एक प्रोजेक्ट था मकाओ में लिविंग इन मोशन 1 to 3. उसके बारे में थोड़ा जानकारी पूछ रही सर से. सर ने क्या क्या इसमें. So could you just brief it, please?
Okay, the Living in Motion 1 to 3 is in fact is a health development project for children. This project identifies 4 very important key things in helping the student to learn. First, the student need to know themselves. This is what we call the cognitive development. The student need to have a way in order to manage their health and fitness developments. The student need to have a way in order to exercise. That is what we call the opportunity. The last one is the student need to have a reviewing system so that they can find out their problem, reshape their problem, and then go for another advancement in order to fix the problem. So these are the 4
So what is that? The fourth one is, what do you call it?
The fourth one would be review.
We
Now,
will.
take it easy. Take it easy. The first one is collective development.
Okay.
The second one is practice.
Okay.
The third one is management.
Management.
The fourth one is reviewing. So these are the
We will.
reviewing.
We
Yeah. So these are the 4 key elements for the project of Living in Motion 1 to 3.
अभी सर बता दें कि जो सर ने अभी जो शुरू किया इस सर का प्रोजेक्ट मकाओ में था लिविंग इन मोशन. ये एक है कि बच्चों को स्वस्थ बच्चे और जिसमें अच्छी क्षमता हो. लेकिन इन्होंने 4 चीजें रखा है. एक तो है बच्चों को अपने बारे में खुद की व्यक्तिगत तौर पे जानकारी होनी चाहिए. ये सब सामूहिक तौर पे सब एक साथ मिलकर करेंगे. और दूसरा है कि ये लोग जो भी है ये लोग खुद अपना प्रैक्टिस करेंगे. अपनी जो है शारीरिक गतिविधि बढ़ाने के लिए वो खुद अपने स्वास्थ्य और सेहत कैसा करना उस करेंगे. और तीसरा है खुद अपना मैनेज करेंगे, क्योंकि इससे हम बच्चे खुद सीखते हैं कि रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कैसे अपने खुद ले, अपना काम खुद कराएं. और चौथा है अपने आप को थोड़ा वो एनालाइज कर लेते हैं उनमें किस चीज की कमी है और को किस तरह सुधारना है. तो ये सारी चीजें मिलकर एक व्यक्ति को पूर्ण रूप से हम बोलते हैं जीवन की एक शैली, जीवन की शिक्षा से तैयारी कराते हैं. Thank you so much, Dr. Walter. Indeed, it was such a wonderful session. Thank you. And we didn't want to have a stop. We didn't want to have a stop, but then you made a stop for us. That is no. Usually we have a climax. You said no. You're going to give a suspense for us. So you keep something else waiting for it later. This is what he did. So that's great. And I'm so excited with this global index, because there's a fitness index. I was saying, how can I make this city fit? So a lot of things have come by, but I'm yet to see the QP global index. I mean, is there a concept like that?
Sorry, is
there a global index of the?
No, we cannot. Of course, we cannot draw a global index. We cannot.
It was not there. No, so far this is going to be the first time.
Yes, this is the first time I work on this, and right now we have 78 cities involved. And these 78 cities coming from 4 major groups: the middle, the high income group, upper middle income group, middle income group, and lower middle income groups. So we have 4 groups of cities involved in this analysis. That's very interesting, and I think I should not say too much until
I understand. Keep it a suspense.
Yeah,
keep it a suspense so we can hear it later. That's great. That's great. That is nice.
And then if you say you think that there was a good things that I can share, then I would like to have the part 2 in the same platform to share the same thing with the Indian teachers concerning about.
Sure. That would be great. Now I'll tell you, I'll just give you a briefing. Most of our teachers here are from state of Bihar and from the northern part, and they're from the government schools. Like we have the CBSE schools, government schools, but state government schools are slightly different because they don't get that much of, it differs from state to state. Some of the states are well equipped, but the number of states who don't give prioritize for that. And then we have things which go, but in all such cases, what would you suggest? Because yesterday the same question came up where the number of students are there, but children hardly any equipments. And when we talk of this quality P, one question was, if you bring in the informal or co-curricular, then the status would lose its physical education status, where they find that I think it is fine where the children need to participate in the recess and after school. So why should we employ a PE teacher?
No, that's different. That's different. We share different jobs. We share different jobs. Don't forget, the physical education is for learning. It's not just for the sport. It actually concerning about the mind, the development and of cognitive understanding, cognitive building. And then, but you need opportunities for them to exercise. So that's different. So if you are saying that you are just relying on what we call after school program, sorry, it's not enough. Because if you do not have the learning part in the front, and then this is not accurate, and you are not trying to impart the student with proper understanding of sport education. You are just giving them to exercise only. You're just giving them a chance to play only. No, this is not the attitude. So that's why the best way in order to have a physical program is, first, you need to have the formal one. That is something on the classroom, so that you have the guided learning of for the students, so that they will be coming in with some sort of guided developments on the cognitive thinkings, on the social developments. So these are the things that the teacher need to. I tell you what, to become a professional PE teacher is actually a very difficult job. It is actually a very difficult job. This is a completely different, like a math teachers or linguistic teachers. No, they are talking about using the physical activity to develop the cognitive, social skills, affectional skills, and all these things. This is actually very difficult. But the opportunity in after school is very important. Without that, there will be no way for you to exercise your skills. No way in order to develop your talent. Your talent will be restricted. So the both things are working together. So you can see many places, Macau is one of the places, that they use the school leisure activity, formal, informal together. Singapore used the co-curricular activity to put them together. And in Taiwan region, they put the integrated curriculum together. And so in Australia, they will use the after-school sports. Every student will join the club activities on Saturday, what we call the weekend sports. So these, and then these are the current trend of developments. And many of the places are now getting use of these kind of developments in order to extend students' opportunity to exercise. Say, take a look, 60 minutes. It's actually very difficult to attain in a physical education lessons daily. If you ask about 60 minutes daily physical education, then how many PE teachers that you need to have in school? There will be a huge demand. You will need you will need to, for example, like you need to ask some of the math teachers away, ask them to leave. Otherwise, there will be no room for you to have new PE lessons. This is impossible. So that's the reason.
I'll just explain to them. अभी सर बताते जो शारीरिक शिक्षा के जो अध्यापक है उनका काम बहुत मुश्किल है, क्योंकि हम दूसरे सब्जेक्ट टीचर्स को सिर्फ आके क्लास में कुछ पढ़ाना होता है, लेकिन शारीरिक शिक्षा के जो टीचर हम सही तरह से स्किल सिखाते हैं, वो जब हम एक बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, उसमें हमें सिर्फ एक तरह से हम बोल नहीं रहे, हमें पूरी बच्चों को में बदलाव लाने के कर रहे हैं, इसलिए बहुत मुश्किल है। और शारीरिक शिक्षा एक बहुत जरूरी चीज है, उसके बारे में बोलना है। There's one question I want to ask you was in case of physical education, there was something which I wanted to ask, because how about accountability? You have PE teachers at this primary school level. Okay, now the teacher has a subject similar to that of a subject teacher, a mathematics or a science, whatever, at the primary. So do you have any rubrics or anything for evaluation purpose? Or do you bring that in line along with that of the same subject when you come to the physical education?
This is true. I tell you what, right now in physical education, we have to change our attitude in assessment. In the past, we do a lot of what we call the skill assessments. Now, we are no longer using the skill assessments. We are actually moving towards what we call the rubrics. We are moving towards what we call the games assessment and a GPAI, what we call the games assessment performance indicators. we are moving towards what we call the peer evaluations. We are moving to different directions now. We are no longer using or adopting the skill as the only way in order to do assessment. This is true. I tell you what, Professor Suzuki is an expert in this area. He has a lot of models and also examples concerned about the games teachings. He is the one actually trying to lead games teachings in Asia. In Australia, that is the work of Professor Light, Richard Light. But in Asia, he's the one that actually working a lot on games teachings. He tried to bring the new things on the lessons. But at the same time, because of this change of games lessons, there is a new form of assessments and in physical education. So well, he is an expert. If there will be anyone who want to learn more about these things, you need to ask Usa. Please go and ask him. Ask Professor Suzuki. Not just talk about the games. Ask him to have the independent lectures on assessment.
But now, do you think? I'm sorry to interrupt. What about this? Do you think the curriculum we need to change and revise the curriculum, incorporate these modern concepts by which we can bring in more of game sense and others? So can that be brought into the curriculum as such?
If you ask me, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. We are no longer stick to what we call the 45 minutes in physical education lessons. We need to have a holistic concept. And this concept is actually widely experimented. For example, like in Singapore, we are no longer talking about the 45 minutes. This is already out of date. We are talking and concerning about what we call the holistic developments, making a bigger picture of how these things can be learned. Imagine when a student enters school at the time of 8 o'clock in the morning, he or she is already in the PE lessons. How you're going to reshape his life from the 8 o'clock until the student finishes class at 4 o'clock in the afternoon would be something that you want to bring for the curriculum. This is the curriculum. This is the curriculum. Well, if you have no perceptions on these things, no understanding on these things, then I'm so sorry to that, to say to you that sorry, you are not enough. You need to make a wider concept or wider development concerning about the curriculum of development inside. What are the elements inside? Take a look from the student side. This is important. Take a look what will happen when a student enters school at the time of 8 o'clock in the morning. What kind of experiences that the student going to have? That is his curriculum. That is not.
सर ये बता रहे थे कि जब करिकुलम बनाते हैं हम तो करिकुलम को सब्जेक्ट को ध्यान देके बनाते हैं, लेकिन बच्चों की सोच, बच्चों की क्या आवश्यकता है, उनकी जरूरत है, बच्चे क्या चाहते हैं और जिससे वो ज्यादा मनोरंजन पाते हैं, जिस पे ज्यादा खुश रहते हैं। और आपको हमें ये भी पता है कि बदलाव जैसे समय बदल रहा है उसके समय बदलना जरूरी है और उससे उनकी जो जरूरत भी बदलती है। उस तरह से हमें अभी जैसे सुजुकी सर ने हमें गेम्स के बारे में बताया तो बोला कि जरूर हमें करिकुलम में ऐसी भी चीजें लागू करने से अच्छा रहेगा। So thank you so much, Dr. Walter. It was indeed so much. I don't think if I die, then I would have it more. We have Dr. Beatrice. Madam, for your remarks, please.
Well, Walter, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very good. And bringing such important information, myth and reality of quality of physical education development. The international, and then to show all the international organizations related to education, physical education, health, and reality of many countries. It's great to see the world, the different parts of the world. And then we can see that many countries care much more than the others. And the experience of Singapore is very good. Singapore is a special place in the world. And the area of physical education shows the socio-economic diversity. Then you can see very clear. It shows the sorrow of the world, socio-economic issues, politics, and social conscience. And I can see also the physical education is an area important because it works with the basic elements of a human being: movement, education, health. We should pay more attention, and yet many countries are being aware of the importance of this area. They changed the number of hours, cut physical education in elementary schools. And I can see, I mean, the experience in Brazil, there is an apathy in the population, no complaints, no social movements. There are so many social movements. People go to the street and scream, but for physical education, quality of physical education, well, the government keeps, oh, there is no money, they cut here, there, and there. Well, my question is, do you think that civil society should organize better and demand public policy to improve physical education? Probably is one of the difficult parts that our civil society is not so well organized in this area.
Well, you're correct. This is another thing, all right? This is actually need to be answered from the sociological point of view, how we are going to bring the politics together in order to analyze these elements in terms of physical education development. This is interesting. This is interesting. But there will be something I understand at this moment. Difficult to answer your questions. But I would like, if there will be any chance that I'll be next time available, then I would like to bring you some of the, what we call to learn about physical education development from the political side. All right, that will be a very interesting topic. I'm delighted to share my experiences on this area. But what you said to me, that would not be an easy questions to be answered. It needs to understand and pretty well concerned about what we call the social movement and how this kind of social movement interact with educational development. And so if we understand how these two things interwoven together, there'll be a way in order to answer the difficulty, or maybe help us to think like in order to see the future developments. Well, I would love to have more chance to discuss. I know that you are historians. I would love to work with you.
Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you so much. Dr. Rosa, your remarks, please.
Thank you, Dr. Usha. Dr. Walter, thank you very much for your presentation. I really enjoy. There are a couple of elements that I would like to highlight, and it is the relevance of physical education and the importance. And I'm so glad that you address this topic so well. So with such a review, and particularly, with this historical review coming from physical education in terms of QPE and the relevance it has for UNESCO and international organizations that have set on the table what is the relevance of physical education in the school. Okay, so this is wonderful. We also have a saying in here that we said that physical education is the mother, okay, or we call it the umbrella, and all other areas are within, such as sport, physical activity, dance, many elements, games, etc. So for all the audience, physical education is a component of the education system, which is as relevant as any of the other subjects, okay? And sometimes when people don't understand and it's easier for them to foresee what could happen, I make a connection with a famous movie for kids that came out some time ago, that the name is WALL-E. And in that, Disney movie, it shows how, because human beings didn't move anymore, so it was just a machine there, and what human beings became to be, which is very sad, okay? And that could possibly happen to the human race. Now, you also indicated the connection, and you said for the future to make this comparison between social aspects, political aspects, and education. And I remember one of the talk here with David Kirk, and he said that there has been economical cuts to education since the 80s, and that has affected on the sort of teachers, or allow to have many teachers to participate in education in general, but our field, which is physical education, has suffered a lot. This is a reality, and it is important to speak about, because if we don't have trained teachers, then it is very difficult to address what is referred as QPE, quality physical education. The literature has indicated that this QPE is not related sometimes with having lots of money, because you could have lots of money, but there's no physical education teacher who can handle how to work with, because what is required is the attitude of the teacher to embrace the students, to make them feel part of a class, not without any discrimination, without their physical condition. Because again, physical education is more than sport. It covers many areas of the curriculum system. So it's how to understand that. So we have a challenge ahead, because in spite of the fact of this historical review from Ken Harman studies, and we observe that it is true that the policy might be there, and it is important that the policy is in there. Sometimes people say, well, there are so many things written. It's important to get to the stage that it's written. Then people needs to get to know that those are written, because this means empowering people, and then we need to put in place, okay? There are like stages in which that is required. So it seems when I observe different programs from different countries, I don't think there is a difference between sometimes what the governments are inputting the money for physical education teachers. What I see are individual programs, NGOs that are doing activities outside school, and then it looks okay. I mean, this compromise from governments to have more support to physical education as an educational subject, okay, as part of the curriculum, is what I see that is minimum. What I observe is very good initiatives from NGOs, like, but really sometimes they are disconnected with what's going on in the physical education class and subject, okay? So this is, I mean, one comment and my perception. And the other element, and I just would like your comment about that. And there has been, with UNESCO, pilot studies related with QPE, okay? And what happens? It's like the pilot studies are there, but perhaps that was during an administrative period. But then changes the administrators, and there's no continuity in the programs. So it means that the time was wasted. It seems that time was wasted. So what can be done in order to continue the flow, that the programs are maintained? Because and I see this as a problem very serious to humanity, because it deals with sustainability. It deals with the health of human beings, and it is understood. It's like we in society, we want results very fast, you know, and then, but in physical education is a continuity to have throughout a long life a better human being. So how that can be made understood, because so far it hasn't been understood in the places in the world in where we work.
Now, this is actually another story. I understand about the project. I do not want to say anything on their project, but for me, I understand one thing. When you are going to address quality physical education, or better not to say quality physical education, or physical education development in a country, you need to identify the important dimensions, and then understand how these dimensions and the weakness and also constraints, and how much that these dimensions are being achieved. And then you need to have a very clear pictures of these dimensions before you can make strategic plan. And in the past, when we are talking about the quality physical education, we focus on a few what we call descriptive data, like the curriculum time, curriculum elements, like the policy. Yes, these are the necessary facts. These facts, in fact, create a bias effects. For example, like if my country has no respect to physical education for last 15 years, no respect. Right now, after 15 years of development, my children can enjoy 70 minutes of physical education per week. This is already a big success. But this success cannot compare with the country in Denmark. It cannot compare with the country in Sweden. They have 100. Does it mean that my country, my place is below the standard? No, certainly no. If I try to compare my work with Sweden and Denmark, yes, I am no. But these comparisons doesn't calculate the effort that I have done in the country. And so that's why I understand one thing. There'll be no one can answer the things unless the people who can make the judgment. So this is actually the same things. I cannot request India to have the same things like Singapore. No way. I cannot ask India to have the same things like England. No way. But I understand Indians are actually working in order to make the progress or improvement, although there are gaps. Yes, we need to learn about the gaps, how to fill the gaps, but put it level, and that's what we need to do. That cannot be done by the sport authority of India. That has to. And so how to bring them level? I tell you what my experience is. The first thing that we need to do is professional training. I cannot name to you which country, but if you are on 20 February, you will know which country actually doing very well. Then you will know. I do not want to talk about politics, but I understand the prerequisite, it would be professional training. If without this professional training, there'll be no way in order to attain the suitable standard. This is something very interesting things that we want to see. And also, at the moment, I do not want to link any of my discovery to politics or social movement. But deep my heart, this is something related. This is something related. All right, that would be a very interesting part that we should not buy myself. We need to open our heart to learn. That's the only things I can say to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rosa. Thank you, Dr. Walter. Dr. G. Kishore, sir, for your remarks, please.
I'd like to thank Dr. Walter King Yan Ho for his excellent presentation, and especially on this topic of quality physical education development myth and reality. Because in India, the quality physical education programs we are gradually implementing. As rightly pointed out, we won't have two nations equated because of the various factors prevalent in the countries. But there is something common between India and China, that is the population. We have the second largest population, now the largest youth population in the world. And the post-independence period in India, we had physical education programs in the schools, but the quality of that was always contradicted because there were no theory classes. There was no sports science part of it was not looked into. And also exercise science and research methodology was confined only to few institutions where research programs were on. So it was movement, like exercise science or movement education as a part of physical education was not at all prevalent, or rather was undermined to a considerable extent. In the out of there had been a lot of stigma into the physical education program. The school, various school boards and all, they thought that this is something which need not to be emphasized or prioritized, out of which the periods which were allotted to physical education gradually gone down, and to the extent that of the physical education teachers were also brought down. This has led to a lot of because the quality got affected. the quality of the programs were affected, and out of which there were several ramifications and which we experienced. Like a country with population, when you don't proper care your exercise sciences, movement education, what will happen is what is depicted now. We have 30% of the population going to be affected with lifestyle disease. And
Yes, yes.
that is out of the lack of quality physical education program. So now we are changing. Now, having realized this, we are coming back to quality physical education. And now the new education policy, which has been recently, which has been announced, contains that about a lot of priority to be given to the physical education programs, quality physical education programs, and it is going to be a part of the curriculum, education curriculum. So that will make remarkable changes in Indian system. Further, Sports Authority of India has started a special program known as Khelo India. And this Khelo India program has got 12 verticals. And these 12 verticals include all segments of quality physical education too, including Fit India program, where we envisage every youth, every child to be physically fit, healthy and fit. There is a program for fit institutions, schools and colleges. So gradually we are coming back, and also a lot of emphasis to that national institutes to give quality education and research programs. And we have got established a national sports university at Imphal.
Yes.
So there is a lot of changes happening. So I'm sure that your relations and your being, China is a country which has proved that emphasis to physical education and participation sports can do lot. Because out of a period of time when you have gone out of the competitive arena and focused, I think, totally into broad basing, and a lot of physical education quality programs were incorporated in China. I had the privilege of visiting China twice, and had been to Beijing Sports University too. And also when the 2008 Beijing Olympics, I could be there. So I knew that I had visited the labs and halls of Beijing Sports University, and I still remember the programs which are going on there. Also, I had traveled to some more places there in China, and I had a lot of meaningful discussion with the Beijing Sports University authorities too those
Yes.
times. So I am sure that this paper will be definitely whatever you have presented and brought to the knowledge of our physical education teachers will definitely be throw light on the importance of physical education, quality physical education program, and how much it is required for our country to at this point of time. Thank you very much, Dr. Walter, for your.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Kishore sir. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Walter, because I think it's been, you brought on what the truth, what's the reality, and what is a myth. Because we all talk of it, but you brought in what the reality is. I mean, still, since it's a questionnaire method, I know still we need to get into the truth, what is actually happening. That's required, because many of them, they post that they have, but is it really happening? That's again important, but you are trying to do that. That's going to be a great, an insight into quality physical education. But I feel is all the best for the seminar, and definitely we are going to attend your seminar. And then, as you said, is hope that we also could get into some collaborative work to find out what could be done, because we have a number of there is quite a lot with qualified PE teachers too across. So I think, so next time when you have any such projects, also do include the India LNCP into it. That would be also there, since we joined the UNESCO World Survey on Physical Education. This is the first time we have joined, but then earlier we never knew of it. So, but I think now it's important that India also be a part in various research, so that our population, we can get to know something. Now already you're having it, but anyway, you're taken from a particular segment. But now, since we are with the whole of the country, because we are very fortunate, because we are from the ministry and we have the entire physical education of the country which is coming to us. So, more than 15,000 teachers have already been trained in our online. This is the next batch which is on. So I was just saying for that. So LNCP can be kept in mind for this. So thank you so much, Dr. Walter.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
So on
my
behalf of the
pleasure.
Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, thank you so much. Hats off to a great leader in physical education, and a person who is so inquisitive, and a great researcher. See, that's very different, because you are not leaving it. You're going and finding out. That's been, it's a great struggle. I say it's a struggle, and it's a great struggle which you've done with your entire team. So I'm wishing you all the best for this. And we are indeed so thankful to you for this wonderful session. Our PE teachers are, you can see the chat box, they're very happy because they have gained a lot. And they now feel that we are much better than a number of countries because we are still equipped. May not be, as you said, not comparison, but still okay when you compare with the others. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. I need to thank Dr. Rose. Thank you so much because you're the one who introduced Walter to us. Thank you so much to make it truly international. Madam Beatrice, thank you so much. Gracious presence and your valuable inputs. I need to thank Dr. G. Kishore, sir. As I always said, a great administrator and a visionary, and always wants new things, new concepts to be introduced into physical education. And being a physical education college, would want to see how best we too can grow, bringing in what the best practices are. Thank you, Kishore, sir. I need to thank Dr. Sanjeev Patil, who's a co-host. Thank you, Pranesh and Harihar for the technical assistance. I need to thank all my dear PE teachers and coaches. PE teachers, thank you so much. आप सबको शुक्रिया क्योंकि आपने अपना जो कीमती वक्त हमारे साथ गुजारा। एंड मेरे को पता है कि आप लोगों को काफी जानकारी मिली होगी कि शारीरिक शिक्षा के बारे में सच्चाई क्या है, और आप सबके लिए मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ। So once again, to each and everyone, a big thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
See you. Okay.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.